Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to unlock something that literally affects every single minute of your day, often without you even realizing it. We're demystifying the science of habit formation. Whether you're trying to finally stick to that workout routine, read a bit more, or maybe just break a nasty doom-scrolling habit, understanding the actual mechanics behind human behavior, that is the master key. Today, we're breaking down exactly how you can design your life by looking at two of the absolute best behavioral frameworks out there. Okay, let's dive right into this. James Clear, the guy behind the mega bestseller Atomic Habits, really hits the nail on the head here. He says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." For decades, we've basically been sold this idea that goal setting is the ultimate secret to success. But honestly, goal setting's kind of a myth. I mean, think about it. Winners and losers actually have the exact same goals. Every single Olympian wants the gold medal. The difference isn't the goal, it's the system they use to get there. True, lasting change doesn't run on willpower. It runs on your underlying systems.
Think of this as your personal roadmap for today. We'll start with the problem with goals, move on to identity, unpack the 4 laws of behavior change, figure out how to break bad habits, compare Atomic Habits with the Tiny Habits method, and wrap up with building your ultimate system for success. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The problem with goals.
1%, it seems completely insignificant, doesn't it? If you improve by just 1% on a random Tuesday, you probably aren't even going to notice. But here's the thing. Habits are essentially the compound interest of self-improvement. Because of the way the math works out, getting just 1% better every single day makes you a staggering 37 times better over the course of a single year. By obsessing over these massive life-changing goals, we totally ignore the incredible power of marginal gains. Your focus really shouldn't be on radically overhauling your entire life overnight. It should just be on taking a tiny 1% step forward today.
Section 2. Identity over outcomes. Behavior change happens in layers, almost like peeling an onion. Most of us start right on the outer edge, right? The outcomes. We say, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. Then we move a layer deeper to the processes. Okay, I'll go to the gym. But we completely ignore the absolute core of the onion, our identity. Outcomes are all about what you get. Processes are about what you do. But identity? That's about what you believe. Lasting change absolutely must focus on identity. Who you actually wish to become. Every single time you go to the gym, you aren't just burning calories. You're casting a vote for the identity of someone who simply doesn't miss workouts.
And look, this isn't just fluffy motivational theory. Research in the International Journal for Multidisciplinary Research proves that understanding the fundamental cue, routine, reward cycle is an absolute requirement if you want to successfully replace detrimental behaviors with positive ones. The science completely backs this up.
So you're probably wondering, how long does this transformation actually take? Well, you've probably heard that old myth that it takes 21 days to form a habit, right? Yeah, we need to debunk that right now. According to research by Philip Alali over at University College London, it actually takes an average of 66 days to form a habit. And honestly, depending on how complex the behavior is, it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days. This right here is exactly why you need that identity shift we just talked about. Because guess what? Your initial motivation is going to run out by about day 14. You need your new identity to carry you all the way through to day 66.
Section 3. The 4 laws.
To build a solid system, we really need to understand the underlying neurology first. And it all boils down to the habit loop. Step 1 is the cue, a trigger in your environment. Step 2 is the craving, that anticipation or desire for a change in state. Step 3 is the response, the actual habit you're performing. And step 4 is the reward, the relief or satisfaction that teaches your brain, hey, remember this loop for next time. This very loop is running in the background of your brain right now, dictating almost everything you do.
What's brilliant is how James Clear translates that exact scientific habit loop into a set of super actionable rules for your daily routine. He calls them the 4 laws of behavior change. If you want a habit to stick, you've got to design your environment so the cue is obvious. You have to frame the habit so it's attractive. You absolutely must reduce friction so the response is completely easy. And finally, you got to give yourself an immediate positive reinforcement so the reward is satisfying. That right there is your ultimate checklist for success.
Section 4. Breaking bad habits. Now, the crucial point here is that to break a bad habit, you simply use the power of inversion. You take those 4 building laws and you literally flip them upside down. Instead of making a cue obvious, make it invisible. Hide the junk food, delete those social media apps from your home screen. Make the craving unattractive by really highlighting the negative consequences to yourself. Make the response difficult by adding tons of friction. And make the reward unsatisfying. If you want to kill a bad habit, you have to engineer your life so that doing the wrong thing becomes practically impossible.
All right, so this all sounds great, doesn't it? But here's a critical narrative twist for you. What if you try to apply all these laws, you completely redesign your environment, you set your intentions, and you still can't even get off the starting line? What do you do when your motivation is literally at zero?
Section 5. Atomic versus Tiny Habits.
Enter Stanford researcher Dr. B.J. Fogg. He spent over 20 years studying behavior change, and he came up with the B=MAP equation. It states that behavior happens when motivation, ability, and a prompt all converge at the exact same moment. And here's the absolute genius of Fogg's approach. He realizes that motivation is completely unreliable. I mean, some days you have it, some days you just don't. So when motivation is rock bottom, you must shrink the behavior down so much that your ability to do it becomes incredibly high. If you can't bring yourself to run for 20 minutes, can you just put on your left shoe? Make it impossibly tiny.
Let's see how this builds into Fogg's incredibly actionable ABC method. A is for anchor. You attach your new tiny habit to an existing routine, like, say, pouring your morning coffee. B is for behavior. It must be a micro-action that takes under 30 seconds. 2 push-ups, flossing literally one single tooth. And C, and listen, this is the most important part, is for celebration. You must immediately generate a positive emotion, a subtle fist pump, a quiet yes. By immediately celebrating a tiny action, you are literally wiring it into your brain with dopamine. Your brain is naturally going to want to repeat whatever made it feel good.
So how do you choose your tool? Well, if your problem is that you just can't get off the couch, use B.J. Fogg's emotion-first tiny habits to overcome that initial activation friction. But once the habit is actually rolling and you hit a plateau after a few weeks, that's when you deploy James Clear's identity-first atomic habits. Basically, Fogg is for starting and Clear is for sustaining.
Section 6. Systems for Success.
We like to call this the Fit First filter. The real trick to changing your life isn't just about reading a book. It's about matching your current sticking point to the right method. If you're feeling paralyzed and struggling to just start, strip away all those ambitious goals and use Fogg's tiny ABC method today. But once you've got that tiny win under your belt and you're really ready to scale up and build a permanent lifestyle, that's when you layer in Clear's 2-minute rule, habit stacking, and deep environment design. You use them together as a complete system.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative question. Think about this. Who do you want to become, and what is the smallest step you can take today to prove it? Don't worry about the massive goals right now. Combine the rapid starting power of tiny habits with the long-term sustaining power of atomic habits. Shift your identity, celebrate those tiny wins, and just let the math of 1% daily improvement do the heavy lifting for you. You've got the system. Now, what's your next tiny step going to be?